Patrice Lumumba's place in African history is in several ways unique. Few leaders rose to international prominence so rapidly and so dramatically. The passions he aroused among both his supporters and his detractors were probably unrivaled by any other leader. To some, he was the ideal of a nationalist hero. To others, he was a cruel, unprincipled opportunist. The crisis through which the Democratic Republic of the Congo passed when he was its prime minister not only changed the course of its history, but also that of all Africa and even the whole world. Lumumba first achieved prominence by leading the largest Congolese nationalist political party, and then in June 1960, becoming the country's first prime minister. Unlike many other African leaders who took up the reins of government after their countries achieved independence, Lumumba had not been able to forge a single and united nationalist movement. There were over 15 significant political parties in the Congo, and their leaders were naturally in competition with one another. Thus, in order to obtain a vote of confidence from the newly elected parliament, Lumumba had to make many compromises and to take leaders of many other parties into his cabinet. All this meant that although he was the outstanding leader, he did not have, nor could he expect to have, complete authority or tight control over political affairs during the difficult early days of independence. But the problems Lumumba faced in parliament and in the cabinet were small when compared with the mutiny which broke out among the soldiers of the Congolese army only a few days after independence was proclaimed. Quick succession. This was followed by a complete breakdown of public security, the rapid departure of most of the white residents of the Congo, the return of Belgian troops, serious attempts at secession by some of the most wealthy regions of the country, massive interference in the Congo's internal affairs by foreign powers, and finally, the arrival of the United Nations police force. In the countryside, the mutinous troops molested the civilian population, both black and white, looted and destroyed property, and threatened to reduce the country to a state of total chaos. In many places, civil administration broke down, and in some, rival ethnic or political factions fought each other, resulting in considerable casualties. Looking back, it seems absurd that anyone expected Lumumba and the other leaders of the Congo government to find a way which would rapidly put the whole situation right. He was caught between forces he could not control. At first, he tried to order the soldiers to return to discipline. When this not only did not work, but caused many of them to look upon him as an opponent, he tried to appease them by giving promotions and sending white officers home. When the Belgian troops returned, he tried to rally nationalist discipline, but at the same time, he entered into negotiations with Belgian representatives for a temporary presence of Belgian troops so that order could be restored. The Congo government also invited the United Nations to send troops to the Congo so that order could be re-established and so that the national unity could be preserved. But in the summer of 1960, the UN did little to counteract the secession of Katanga and other regions. When his appeals to the West and to the UN for effective help to end secession went unheard, Lumumba tried to obtain help from other African states and from the Soviet Union. But this, in turn, gained him little more than the distrust and opposition of Western states, who throughout this period maintained a great deal of influence in the Congo.